This week's episode is brought to you by Capital Financial Advisory Group for all your retirement needs.
Broadcasting from coast to coast, it's the Financial Safari with your host, Coach Pete D'Arruda. You'll hear from some of the nation's top financial professionals. So stick around and find out how to make it through the jungle of the financial world, right here on the Financial Safari.
Hello and welcome to Financial Safari. We talk retirement here and the strategies that you need to consider, you need to be aware of to make sure that you have that peace of mind in that phase of life called retirement. I'm consumer advocate Dave Perkins with, of course, the man. It's Greg Berrien. Greg Berrien, Coach Pete's trusted advisor, part of the team at Capital Financial. Greg, it's a new season.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, where did 23 go?
It's gone.
I'll tell you, it's that time of year when there's New Year's resolutions.
Yes, that's right. And not just about weight loss and things like that, but financial resolutions. In fact, people are probably taking it more seriously now than they have in a long time.
Yeah. Especially, when people go to the grocery store and they look and they see how much they're paying for things, they're thinking, holy cow, if this is the future, I need to focus on saving some money. And that's what they're looking at right now. So it's been kind of a flip. It used to be more of a health position.
Yeah.
Now it's financial health. And that's a very scary process.
It really is. Now, still early in the season, what are you hearing so far, concern-wise, challenge-wise from people?
People mostly are concerned about inflation right now. Inflation and the cost of goods. The cost of goods. Granted, some of the gas prices have started to drip down a little bit, which is terrific, but we still haven't recovered from that enormously high inflation of about a year and a half ago. And so that is what people are saying, I'm really getting concerned. I feel like I have to take too much money out of my accounts to basically pay my household bills. And so don't forget, a lot of the folks that we talk to, Dave, they're already retired and they're in their positions right now. Whereas if you're still working, that's a different thing. You can you keep making money, but everybody is focusing on, and I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing to save money. It's a good thing to make sure that you put, you have that emergency account in place.
Yeah.
It's like the other day, we finished our kitchen finally.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Congratulations.
Came in under budget. Well, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
And we finished on the Friday before Christmas. It took 2 months, about 7 weeks. And Friday night, we looked and there's this big old puddle in front of our refrigerator. And the only appliance we decided to keep died.
Oh,
and so
man.
you got to expect these things.
Yeah.
You got to anticipate things happening, so you make sure that you have enough money to go out and buy that new refrigerator when it decides it no longer wants to work for you.
Exactly. When you're meeting with someone in the financial red zone, they're not yet retired, closer to it certainly. Sometimes do you have to nudge them into what might be better resolutions to get them there?
Well, yeah. Also, one thing we have to start looking at is the allocations of where their money is. If they're getting closer and closer and closer to retirement, and if they're saying, something, I'm about 2 years away, can I afford a correction in the market? And that's what we have to start looking at, is looking at those corrections and looking at what is my future income? What is my future income going to look like? How much money am I going to have? And my answer is I can guarantee you income.
That's a good answer.
I can guarantee you and your spouse for the rest of your life income, no matter what happens.
And we talk about that a lot here, and we'll get into more about staying on track with your resolutions. But a part of the show also is what we call strategy du jour, Greg. This is a hypothetical that's very much like real life.
It happens all the time. I talk to folks all the time about this. These things come through. It could, in this position is we're looking at somebody who possibly inherited money, or they sold a large piece of property and they have some excess cash and they want to make sure they're working closely with it. And also they're looking at tax implications as well. So let's go on the assumption that all the taxes are already paid, and we start off with $500,000.
Okay.
And this person is 65 years old, a man, all righty. And this person, not only they're 65, they want that money immediately.
They want it now.
Now they want they're ready to get in the car and go. They want to get on their traveling shoes or dancing shoes and go have some fun in retirement. But they want to make sure that they have that income immediately, not wait a year, not wait 2 years.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all.
Carpe diem. You know, tomorrow isn't promised, Dave.
That's right.
So what we did is we put this money with a company, alrighty, and we are guaranteeing income. Here's the beautiful thing about it. If you were to, let's say you had $500,000 and you went to another one of the big box guys out there or another advisor, and they say, you know, we'd like to give you 4%. We're going to give you 4% on your money, you know, that you can start taking out because we have to account for loss and things like that. But what we're doing here is this 65-year-old person is going to get not 4%, but 6.2%.
Ah, nice.
Okay.
How do you do this?
Okay. Well, it's the magic of actuaries. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to know the right people.
Okay.
Yeah. I know a guy. All right. And so anyhow, we're starting out with 6.2% on that $500,000. So that's $31,000.
Okay.
$31,000.
He knows that's there.
That's fantastic. But this is this is another thing about this is it's like, you know, we all meet folks, you know, there's a few of them out there that have pensions. When you get a pension, say you started your pension when you were 60, getting $3,000 a month, and when you're 90, 30 years later, you're still getting $3,000 a month, right?
One problem there, it's called...
The I word.
Yeah, that word. Inflation.
The inflation, the whole inflation thing. So here's what we're doing now. We're just saying, oh my gosh, you know, we need to be able to tick this up a little bit. So what this company does, this is awesome, is when the markets go up, when the index goes up, all of a sudden, you're not going to get 31,000. A couple of years later, you're getting almost 33,000.
Okay.
And a couple of years later, you're getting 36,000. And a couple of years later, you're getting 39,000.
It's like a raise.
So you're basically getting a raise. You're keeping up with inflation. So not only do you have guaranteed income for the rest of your life, you're keeping up with inflation. So basically, what's going to happen here now is finally, and on year 13, you're up to $45,000.
Okay.
Okay, so let's look at that original $500,000. You're getting $45,000 from the original $500. All right, that's like 9% coming back at you.
Outstanding.
So all of a sudden, you're getting $45,000. You run out of money.
Okay.
There's no more money in the account. But as long as you're alive, as long as your spouse is alive, you keep getting that money.
It's what matters, right?
So it matters to the day you die. So if you live an extra 20 years, there's no money there. You'd have gotten an extra $900,000 because that's the way it was designed.
That's really sounds better than a pension because it does factor inflation.
It does factor inflation, and also let's say you passed away after 5 years with a pension. Okay, and even if you take you and your wife together, all right. Let's say you both passed away, the pension completely ends. So let's say you passed away let's say on year 5, you still have $376,000 in there.
Legacy too.
Legacy.
Wow,
Legacy.
That's outstanding. And the great thing is you do this every day.
And you know something, here's the best part, Dave. It's just not me. I have a team of people behind me doing this. And this is what I do every single day, helping people find that security, that safety that they're looking for. We call it the SWAN method. You sleep well at night.
I love that. If you want to see what it looks like for you, get the picture of what this looks like specifically for you, what it could look like, get in touch with Greg and the team, and stay with us for more Financial Safari.
Memories with Grandpa.
My first job.
My fourth job.
Crazy road trips.
Our first date. Meeting our son.
Exploring our world.
Our world. Family and friends. Our special song.
Secure your retirement by meeting with a financial advisor.
Are fixed annuities a good investment? Number one, we can't call investments or money we put into fixed places, money we can't lose, that's not really an investment. Investment is when you take a risk in some kind of vehicle, whether it be a stock or somebody down the street opening their own company. It's a risk. You're putting money aside into that company, and you're hoping to get a better return in the future. And number one, you're hoping to get your money back. Well, if you can lose your money, that's considered an investment. So in my mind, when we're putting money into a fixed or fixed indexed annuity, we're really not investing the money because we can't lose it. There are some very special features on some of the annuities that exist today that enable your money to grow at a certain percentage each year until you decide to take it out. Then you start taking it out in a monthly fashion over your whole lifetime, and you can never outlive this money. Even if your balance goes to zero, you can't outlive the money. How is this possible, Coach Pete? Well, because it's in the contract. It's in writing. It's in a contract in your favor, folks. How often do we see contracts in our favor these days? Well, we do in the fixed indexed annuity market. It's a great place to give you retirement income you can never, ever outlive. Now, how easy it is to build a retirement plan when you already know with certainty what the income's going to be? Don't you think it'd be easy to take more risk with leftover money you don't need to give this income? Wouldn't it be easier to take risk knowing that even if you lost the money or if the market was down, you didn't have to liquidate that money. You could wait for it to come back because the money you have in your fixed indexed annuity is giving you an income you can never outlive. This is called retirement planning. Many folks are out here selling you strategies, trying to get you to put all your money at risk, showing you a dream that may never happen. Folks, the number one rule of investing is to get back what you started with. Number two rule of investing is to make sure you continue to get that money. And number three rule of investing is to make sure you have lifetime income you can never outlive. Folks, it's always a good place to put your money in a safe environment. So what I mean by that is it's never a bad day to put some money in a safe place. Now, safe doesn't have to be boring. So if the market goes up, let's say 20%, maybe you get about a 10% of that return. If the market goes down 30%, you share in zero of the loss. That's the beauty of what a fixed indexed annuity is. It's not here to get you rich, but it's here to keep you from ever getting poor. It's not here to take you to the exotic places in the world, but it's here to keep you away from the worst places of the world. Folks, the way to get the plan that you deserve is to take the first step. Contact us with the number you see on the screen or the button you can press there on the screen and get your very own plan started today. There is no fee or obligation. It's called Coach Pete's Power Plan. We put together for you every single item that you have in your financial portfolio. We itemize it out for you, showing you what is red for risk, what's green for safe, and what's yellow for emergency money. If you contact us today.
Be professional. Be noticed.
Be effective. Be on all screens.
Be unrivaled. Be engaging.
Be respected.
Beat the competition. Be yourself. Be proactive. Be happy.
Be happy.
Experience TV. Radio.
Social.
Be broadcasting experts.
We've got some things that you can do now to help make sure that you will have a smooth transition into retirement. And like it or not, we talk about it every week, it seems, Parker. We're talking about a budget, your lifestyle expense report. However you want to phrase it, we got to have it.
And it's a tough conversation piece, and I'm not saying you need to do the crazy like budgeting spreadsheets, worksheets, stuff that can take hours out of your life. It's mainly just knowing what goes in and out. So if you do online banking, we said this on another show before, Steve, is just go to the debits column. Don't categorize, don't factor, don't say this happened once, and just see what you're truly spending. What's the true standard of living? And then if you want to back into the budget and see what the fixed expenses and variable expenses are, you can do it that way. But when you're coming to retirement planning, I know a lot of people have a foundational piece, but the only thing that can truly implode a plan once it's been set is honestly probably the spending, which goes back to you, of course, is if you say you can live off $5,000 a month, and then that's auto adjusted for inflation, of course, but then you're 2 years later, you're going into retirement and that number is now $9,000 a month. That's not inflation.
No, that's not inflation. That's
not inflation. That is spending. That is spending 100%. So knowing the baseline is always important, but you want to be able to know the discretionary too. Because I would say, I mean, the perfect situation is the discretionary is more than the baseline, but you're able to maintain that standard of living in retirement because you're going to want to travel, go out to eat, do all the fun stuff and everything as well.
All right.
Looking at the retirement confidence survey this year, Americans have had the largest 1 year drop in confidence of having enough money to live through retirement since 2008.
No kidding. Boy, that's a bad sign.
That's insane. 52% of people saying that debt has had a significant impact on their ability to save for retirement, and over a third of Americans are living off credit cards in order to make ends meet. And that's, I mean, people blame credit cards, people blame advertising, but I mean, it's always going to be personal. It's always going to be what you're looking at. And we'll talk about this later. There's always stuff that happens and you can't really get around it, but you got to have that budgeting mentality. This is just how I was raised, in that like you spend only what you can. You save 10% for yourself, 10% for emergencies, and then 10% for charity, church, or giving, and live off 70. That's just where it was. And I know that is more of the what they always call the boomer mentality, but that's actually just good budgeting and good savings. Now, I know Dave Ramsey talks about it to the 10%, but the ideal goal is always to save more. So when you get a pay raise, you get an increase, the perfect situation would be putting that towards saving and still living off the baseline 70. Sure. That helps you buy a house, pay off debt quicker. That helps you buy big budget sheet items you want. That helps in case of emergencies like roofing, air conditioning, the stuff you can't help. And then that also helps retirement planning. Like you just said, auto deposits and auto savings are great, but a lot of people don't do it. And the biggest impact you can have is like going to a new company, they have a retirement plan, they're matching in that plan, and you're not even putting in that match. That's 100% loss on return on investment. Yeah. So you're losing that. So you're technically hurting yourself by just not doing that. And if you set it up immediately from day one, you're not going to have to back into it later. Interest rates have gone up in the housing market now, but they didn't for 30 years. Yeah. And we had people 8 years ago, they're like, well, I put every dollar towards paying off a house. And now we're getting to a retirement plan in their 50s. They have nothing saved. And I was like, I get that, but that's where a lot of people misunderstand a lot of the debt management conversation is, what was your interest rate on that house? 3%? Yeah. So you got a 3% return on your money over 30 years. A lot of people don't understand compounding. And they could have easily made, let's say low end 6 to 8%, even though we know the market did better over the last decade. But let's say they would have doubled the amount of money they have saved and still been able to pay off the house. Wow. And that's what people don't forget. It's all about compounding, but people think for now, not for later. AARP said family caregivers who leave the workforce to care for a parent lose on average over $300,000 in wages and benefits over their lifetime. Gosh. And these estimates range from $284,000 for men to $325,000 for women. And this evidence suggests that a caregiver of aging parents in midlife may substantially increase women's risk of living in poverty in old age. Oh my gosh. It's natural to want to help your loved ones, but it is a balancing act because you don't want to always jeopardize your savings, your retirement for it. But they said 2 in 5 Americans have had to provide financial support to a family member just in the past year. And also on the other side of that, you always just got to make sure that you're able to take care of you, your family, your goals and objectives, but investing in you is also taking care of you.
We've all encountered that fast-talking salesman, whether it's buying a car, maybe a new house, and it can be very overwhelming.
I'm in the financial arena now 31 years. Wow. And so talking to folks every single day, and there seem to be the same problems that existed with a lot of folks. The same dirty tricks were played on a lot of different people. So I took notes, and I found all the warning signs, or all the ones that I identified, and all the dirty tricks that are played, and put them in a book.
To find out more or to get a copy of the audiobook, just visit fineprintfiasco.com and stay tuned because we have more content on the way.
Do you hear that? That's me enjoying my retirement. Traveling around the world to play golf, where I want, when I want, with whomever I want. Even got some customized clubs. Because years ago, I rolled over my IRA with the help of a local trusted advisor. Contact us to get started today. This is a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review to help educate and enlighten.
Retirement Strategies with Greg Berrien, and we're back with Financial Safari. I'm consumer advocate Dave Perkins. You know, we've talked about the new season and resolutions and financial resolutions. What's on our mind? What do we need to do better? We talked about it, Greg. We identified it. Now, how do we stay on track with it? You know, a lot of people fail in their resolutions, not just financial, but overall by February.
Well, because sometimes they're unrealistic.
Right.
It's
right.
like, you know, let's say you make $50,000 a year and say, well, this year I'm going to make $900,000.
Right.
It's like, it ain't happening.
It seems overwhelming then, right?
Or you want to lose 300 pounds in a year. And, you know, that's,
sure.
So you want to make sure that you set benchmarks, okay? Benchmarks that are achievable. So also, and, you know, it's like the old saying, how do you eat a 10-pound steak? One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. So this way, when you achieve these benchmarks, you feel good about yourself. You reward yourself. You go, okay, I did this. Okay, I can lose 10 pounds. I can do that. I can take care of that. I can save $1,000 a month. Not save $10,000 a month, but say I can save $1,000 a month, where you can actually set realistic goals and expectations for yourself and put them in writing. Just like a company has a business plan. Next year, for my business coming into 2024, I've put together a business plan of what I plan on doing. I have goals set, okay? Mm-hmm. One of them is losing 10 pounds before my daughter's wedding.
But you didn't say 300, you said 10.
Okay, 10 pounds, I've already lost 10, so 20 pounds, I'm good with that. My doctor's good with it, you know? But the other are the size of my business and how much I'm gonna make. And I have set goals and I'm putting action, I'm setting up actions to be able to achieve every single goal going forward. And that's how you have to run your life on that.
And so we want to set them realistically, in other words, so it doesn't seem overwhelming.
Right.
You know, you talk about the importance of having a written plan. Should we put this in writing?
Absolutely. And you have to have things in writing. You know, whenever anybody sits down with me and we sit down and we talk, and on the first time, very often it's over the telephone. So folks, when you reach out to us and you call us, you'll talk to Joanna, and we're going to set up a virtual appointment. You don't even have to come in. All right, you just come in, and we come in on the second appointment. That's when we start to meet. But in that first appointment, it's just fact gathering, gathering information. What can we do? How can we help you? What can we do to put you into the position that you want to be in when you retire? And then the second time you walk in our office, the first time you walk in our office, our second meeting, I'm going to have a full-blown strategy laid out for you. And what's beautiful about this is what we do is we take all the money coming in, all the assets, and all the money going out. And so we come up with what is referred to as that income gap. Once we design that, once we find out what your income gap is after you're getting your Social Security or pension, few people get that. But once you get that, and then let's say that's $6,000 and you spend $8,000 a month, that gives us a $2,000 income gap. Once we have that income gap identified, now we say, okay, how are we going to solve that? How are we going to help these folks make sure that they don't have to change their standard of living, that they'll be able to enjoy their retirement for the rest of their life and not worry about it?
You know, we call it comprehensive, and you just really laid out why it is. And I can imagine those first couple of meetings, people, and you may point out sometimes red flags that you can provide solutions for, but also maybe opportunities or resolutions or things they weren't even aware to ask you about.
Oh my gosh, it happens all the time. Sometimes folks have some things going on in their life where they don't realize that they qualify for SSDI or Medicare, things like that, how we can help them cut their healthcare costs, how we can help them cut their costs on their medications, how we can help them identify the best paths for the Social Security, how we can help them identify just exactly how risky they are. I always ask them when they're sitting down, I said, okay, 1 to 10, okay. Number 1, You're taking your coffee, you're taking your money, you're burying it in a coffee can like Cousin Eddie, okay?
Yeah, right.
Or 10, you're in Vegas, 23 red, everything ready to go. Where are you?
There's the two extremes, right?
There's, what number are you? And sometimes I'll hear, they'll be like, 75 years old. I'm still an 8. It's like, okay.
Whoa.
Okay. And then, but most people, they kind of like, they're like, I'm like more like a 4 now. I used to be an 8, but I just can't afford to lose the money.
That sounds about right, though, for the age of retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for those out there that are 7s and 8s and 9s, like, gosh, I wish you luck, but, who knows what's going to happen in the future.
What do people really want in retirement? I would think they
worry.
No worry, right?
Worry.
Guarantees.
They want to enjoy it. They want to be able to make sure they have enough money. I listen to my father-in-law all the time, and he just keeps on telling me, Greg, I'm so worried I'm going to run out of money. I'm so worried I'm going to run out of money.
Okay.
And I just like, don't worry, Dad. I got your back. Don't worry. We'll take care of you. We have this. I have it laid out. I have a plan for you. You're good. Don't worry about it. But
I know it's
when
not
you get that old, though, sometimes you don't. It's a difficult position.
And I know it's not a cookie cutter approach that you take, but how do you help ease that fear of running out of money?
Number one, I listen to them.
Yeah.
You listen.
That's important.
When you listen, they tell you how to go after this fear. Okay, they tell you exactly what they need to do, and if you listen and talk to them long enough, they'll tell you everything that you need to know. And then once occasionally, to be honest with you, David, sometimes somebody will walk in my door and they'll say, "Well, I got $180,000 in student loan that I picked up for my kids." It's like,
okay, red flag.
Red flag. Have a nice day. There's not a darn thing I can do for you. You just got to keep working for the next 20 years until you get that paid off.
Wow.
If I meet folks that have a tremendous amount of debt, that's another red flag. Because golly, what was this? Right, currently, right here, credit card debt is over $1 trillion.
It is for Americans.
And you know what kind of interest these credit cards? Just say an average of 20%. I know my Lowe's card that I bought everything with.
That was higher, wasn't
29.
it? 29.
Okay, 20.
Wow.
So let's say it's 20% average. That means that Americans are spending $200 billion a year in interest.
And see, that hurts what you lay out so many times with your strategy du jour, because when you get that locked-in income, then that helps ease that fear.
Absolutely.
But you got to get there, right, properly.
You got to get there, and you have to make sure that you have the right allocations going into each bucket. As you know, we have that red bucket, the yellow bucket, and the green bucket. And the three shall never meet. Okay? And each bucket has its job. Each bucket has its job. That green bucket is there to make sure that you can make sure and take care of all the, that you can maintain your standard of living. That yellow bucket is that bucket for, any emergencies that pop up, refrigerators. And that red bucket, that's the bucket that that's your inflation fighter. That's your more gambling bucket. That's the one that you have a discretionary spending component to.
Okay, it sounds so good. It really does. And you do it every day.
Every day, sometimes 6 days a week.
I'd say get in touch with Greg and the team, because what's really cool is when you sit down one-on-one, you can see how this works for you, specifically for you. So contact Greg and the team at Capital Financial. And as always, we appreciate you being with us on Financial Safari.